Don't test that stereo.
Good afternoon. You are tuned into the Iron Sharpens Iron show, and I am your host, Latrice Cook, ready to talk and give you some flavor in your ear. If we can just get this music out right quick. I am so excited to be here on this wonderful Wednesday afternoon with you all to talk to you about issues, people, and resources to provide services and information for those that have previously been incarcerated and their families. And so, as you know, we do this on a regular and a weekly basis to talk to you and bring folks that have information that will help those who have been touched in some shape, form, or fashion by the criminal justice system. Right here in Texas and all around the globe, we appreciate your listenership here to KAZI 88.7 FM. 512-836-2887 is the number to call in if you'd like to join into this conversation, because I have a bunch of good looking men sitting in the studio this afternoon. And you know, as I struggle many times saying morning, because I've been in the morning for so long, and so sitting in this spot during the lunch hour is a little bit different for me. But I want to tell you, I appreciate all the calls, all of the emails and texts saying that you are listening and enjoying the show. Iron Sharpens Iron. And you know, as we were talking about last week, we had been kind of in and out just a little bit because we had traveled to Chicago, my hometown, and a wonderful place to go to attend the American Probation and Parole Association's annual conference. And so it was very, very, very interesting and enlightening, because basically, as I've been an attendee of that for many years, it allows you to be around the practitioners who have anything to do with jails and prisons, and also probation officers and other people who are involved in and around the criminal justice system. Also allows you to be able to see new technology devices and this, that, and the third that they use to track folks and all this kind of crazy. So we're always glad to be an invited guest and a part of that. And so shout out to the American Parole and Probation Association. And if you are involved in this field, you definitely need to connect yourself to that, because you need to know who the keepers are of those persons and people who are loved ones who may be caught up in the prison system. And so just want to say that to you. Again, 512-836-2887. And as many of you all know, I am the founder for Melge Justice Center, and we assist those persons who are previously being incarcerated. We're not one of these activist groups or this, that, and the third. I've activated many years ago, but we are a resource provider for those persons who have experienced the prison system. So if you need any assistance, shout out to the Melge Center staff, 512-473-2525, 512-473-2525. And even if you don't get in to call in this afternoon to speak with any of these gentlemen that are here, you can call our office and we will give you the contact information in order for you to reach them. Mr. Bayron Wilson oversees all urban alchemy services and has for over 15 years of experience working with formerly incarcerated individuals to re-enter the workforce and reestablish social stability. Mr. Wilson has managed nonprofit organizations to develop employment opportunities for individuals who encounter multiple barriers to employment. Upon graduating from Grambling University with a bachelor's degree in business administration, Mr. Wilson returned home. He was then incarcerated for 10 years. During this time, Mr. Wilson became a high-level clerk and was in position where he could support many incarcerated individuals to structure their minds, times, and activities so they could return home. Despite being sentenced to life in prison, he was paroled within 10 years. He is a big sports fan, plays a major role as both a parent and athletic aspiration for his children. Good afternoon, Mr. Bayron Wilson.
Good afternoon.
Kirkpatrick Tyler is responsible for leading government and community relations in the cities where Urban Alchemy operates. He is also the senior staff person overseeing Urban Alchemy's operations in Southern California. Mr. Tyler has served in various underserved communities throughout the United States, including Atlanta, Indianapolis, Naptown, and New York, and has been trained and cultivated to provide the highest levels of service, advocacy, and community engagement. Mr. Tyler has emerged as a leader within the public service community. Mr. Tyler has worked for both nonprofit and government agencies throughout the United States. Before joining Urban Alchemy, Mr. Tyler worked for the Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti, managing community relations in South Los Angeles, which includes the Skid Row neighborhood, and then serving as a policy advisor on homelessness. His hobbies is music, and he is an avid runner, and he can sing. Good afternoon, Kirkpatrick Tyler. And then, in all finality, and I don't have his bio, but sitting here also with us this afternoon is Ian. So welcome, Ian, to the Iron Sharpens Iron show.
Awesome to be here.
Yes. So as you all may not or may be familiar with or not, Urban Alchemy was recently established as a organization that will be dealing with the homeless population here in Austin. And so I'm going to kind of jump right in with this, and I want you all to tell us what brings you to Austin. And I don't know if you want to start. How do you want to go over here, Kirkpatrick?
Yeah, so first let me say thanks for having us and giving us this opportunity just to come and speak to the community. For all of the wonderful work that you all do. I couldn't think of a better organization to start kind of these public conversations as we come into Austin. Initially, when we came to Austin, we were the recipients of an ECHO grant to do outreach in some of the encamped communities where Austin residents were. And while we were here doing that work, the opportunity to be of service at the Arch came about as they were transitioning in leadership. And I think for us, Urban Alchemy is always looking for places where we can be of service and provide opportunity for our people. And so when we say our people, we're talking about people of color, we're talking about black folks, we're talking about the formerly incarcerated, we're talking about those who are experiencing homelessness currently, as well as those who are have formerly experienced homelessness. And to do that at a high level. Not in a benevolent way, not in a way that makes us feel good about ourselves, but providing tangible opportunities that connect with people's better selves and skills and gifts. Doing it and paying people a living and above living wage so that they can feed and take care of their families as well as feed back into their communities, and doing it in a transformational way, not just transformational for the community, but transformational for the individual as well as their immediate community, which would be their families. And so we're super excited to have this opportunity to be of service in Austin, Texas, because what we understand is that both the outreach work that we do and the Arch are really key components in shaping what it means to be of service to unhoused residents in this city. And everywhere that we are, that's been the blessing that we've been able to do that work.
So, this is so interesting. Why is there a need for an Urban Alchemy? No.
Yeah, I'll take like the very beginning of that question, and I actually want to have our COO Bayron kind of talk about the spirit of that work, right?
Okay.
I think there's throughout the country, throughout the world, there's amazing organizations that do this work. Right now, one of the really major conversations that are going on are the inclusion of folks with lived experience, right? So some organizations have lived experience boards. Some organizations have, they have begun to hire people with lived experience. There's a need for Urban Alchemy because we started out, we were built on this idea that lived experience is probably the most qualified experience. While there are folks who have degrees, while there are folks who have, years of experience, what we have benefited from is we started from the very beginning empowering and engaging folks where we saw their incarceration, their former homeless experience as one of the greatest assets to do the work that we have.
Nice.
So I think there is a need for us because we are the people. Like, we started from the people. We didn't it's not and this is not a knock to anybody else.
No.
This wasn't something that we adapted. This wasn't like an idea. It's not because it's like the popular language now. It's because we started this way from the ground, and that's why we've been able to be successful, and we always are mindful of that.
Bayron?
What up?
So we're gonna run right up against our break, and but when we come back, Bayron is going to talk to us as a co-founder or founder of Urban Alchemy, and also talk about what Kirkpatrick just was talking about the lived experience. Want you to come when we come back from this break, want you to come back and talk to us, introduce us to who you are and what makes Bayron be one of the founders for this monumental effort. And right before we go to break, I just want to say to Kirkpatrick, that really blessed me to hear you say about this wasn't just an epiphany that, you just came up with this, because many organizations have been created because of the buzzwords that sound popular and because people believe it's money locked into the, working with the marginalized community and capsizing on people's pain. And, as a person who's been out here for 19 years and watching all these new pop-up organizations just trying to get in the space so that they can get a grant or this, that, and third is really, it's heart-wrenching. And then also just to think about the fact that this space is such a needed space for people who have experience in this space, and to be empowered to do this work is really what I believe. And as a person who's not been formally incarcerated but founded an organization that's based on the premise of working with these folks and their families, empowerment is what I always wanted from the very beginning. And to see everything that has happened and sprung up because of the George Floyd dollars and the Black Lives Matters dollars that poured in on people, and people just running after it with really no purpose and no mission but creating one based on marginalized communities and people's pain. And we'll be right back to you. You're tuned into the Iron Sharpens Iron Show. My name is Latrice Cook, and 512-836-2887 if you want to join the conversation. Hang on with us. We're back. I can't hear me, but we're back. So we are sitting in the studio. You're tuned into the Iron Sharpens Iron Show. I'm your host, Latrice Cook. And in the studio with me this afternoon is Urban Alchemy, Kirkpatrick Tyler, Ian, and Bayron Wilson. Bayron is one of the founders for Urban Alchemy, which has recently set their paths here in Austin. So we want to go. Good morning, Bayron. Good afternoon. I keep saying morning. Y'all, please forgive me. Bayron, pick up where they were talking about your experience and.
All right. Let me give you that of my experience. Okay. First, let me say I am formally a long-term offender. I am formally homeless. I could talk about I graduated from Grambling State University, all that. But I am not an ex-con.
Love it.
All right. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm an amazing friend, associate. I'm a colleague. Yeah, and I'm the co-founder. But I'm not an ex-con. I'm not going to let nobody give me that title. So when we talk about things. So I want to first give a huge shout out to Springdale Park neighbors, Chase Wright, and of course We Can. for sure. Anthony Jackson, both of those are also predominantly black organizations, very much similar to ours. So when we talk about organizations, Urban Alchemy, we talking about an organization that is, like Mr. KP say, we use acronyms here. Like, so my name is Bayron, they call me Bayron, that's KP, and of course ICJ is to my left, right? So it's one of the things that we do because most of us tend to gravitate towards culture, but people lose the culture. We all about the culture. We embrace our culture. You don't have to change who you are at Urban Alchemy. Just be who you are. But using your lived experience, you're formerly incarcerated to make sure you take it to that level. So although, yeah, I'm originally born in Chicago.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm from Hunters Point, Bayview Hunters Point. And being that, you know, that predominantly black community was impacted by a lot of trauma. And when Dr. Miller obviously is the CEO and co-founder along with myself from being from Hunters Point, we was hit with a number of different things. And Dr. Miller went back to get her doctorate and talked about trauma and emotional intelligence and those individuals who have that superpower and where it's kind of formed at. And I always talked about it even when I was in prison about I got the superpower, I got this gift, but people giggled and laughed, you know. But when I came out, I actually talked about it as well. I got the superpower and I got this gift, but I didn't have the language for it. And it's very interesting that I was able to identify and put the language with what I was experiencing. So it was one of those things. So I just want to say that Urban Alchemy is we are not just a nonprofit. I ain't gonna go off into that 501(c)(3) thing. No, I'm not gonna talk about that. We're a social enterprise. You know, we look at ourselves different. We move different. This is a Bugatti, but with a Buick body. It is what it is. We move at a street legal, though. You know, it's street legal. We move at a speed that most people can't. And of course, our roots is tied to formerly incarcerated men and women. We are tied to formerly homeless men and women and people who have lived experience. ICJ, what you got to say?
I would just say, you know, myself as a former lifer in the California prison system, long-term offender, I did a little bit under 14 years. Started as a teenager, and then coming home, Urban Alchemy provided me an opportunity. And so for so long, you know, Bayron talked about that emotional intelligence, that self-discovery that kind of happens inside when I had to really look at myself and to live with the remorse and want to give back. Urban Alchemy is not only an opportunity for me to be employed and to support myself and my family, but it's an opportunity for me to actively give back into my community and give back to my people. And so for myself, I started as a practitioner, which means, you know, I was boots on the ground, rose up the ranks to a supervisor, to a director, to now I'm a manager of contracts, and I have the privilege to learn and practice as a practitioner, working on contracts, working on budgets, and negotiating, and more so being a leader and an example. And so one of the most powerful things and from my position is to be able to talk to brothers that are still inside, getting ready to come home or not knowing if they're ever going to come home, and sharing my story, because they know one half of my story, or I should say one chapter. And now I'm telling them about this chapter that I've begun out here, and it's sending hope back inside.
What makes you all feel that your lived experience can change the dynamic of someone who has been chronically homeless? When I think about homelessness, that you know, that actually is something that plagues us all over the country. Sometimes when people are homeless, even though they say they want to get off the streets, they want something different. Because they have lived in all that crazy for so long, it's almost an adopted part of who they are. And so what is it that is so unique about Urban Alchemy that can actually change the mindset and actually, you know, have this person to want to live in a place consistently, not on the streets, and be an employable member of society? Pull your mic.
I think we gotta share mics.
Okay, just share mics. Okay.
Me and you, yeah, okay. We in this together.
Wow.
Here we go. If I can answer the question like this, right? When a tech organization needs experts in the field, they go to an MIT and recruit students there to come do the work. If a law firm
needs new, fresh, up-and-coming talent, they'll go to a Harvard or to a Yale. We understand that our work and our business is service of the people, and that we are serving people and communities that have been harmed, that have been traumatized. And so who best to come back and do the work than sometimes the people who are responsible for the trauma, because of the trauma they suffered themselves, right? When you go to those institutions and you recruit for the next tech genius, what you value is the experience that they had, the people that have fed into them, and the way that they've adapted from what they've learned. Well, brothers and sisters that have been incarcerated or formerly homeless or struggled with substance abuse are no different. While the pathway that they walked might have been challenging, their ability to learn and then take that transformable skill and turn what was hard, alchemy, right? Turn something that was base into gold is not different. And so what we found were that our people speak the same language as the people. Our people are not afraid of those who serve, because it's impossible to serve somebody that you fear. Yes. And so the difference, but I won't say the difference because I don't want to compare. What's special about Urban Alchemy is that because we come from the people, because sometimes we were responsible for the pain of the people, that we are the best solve. Right? When you get bit by a snake, one of the things that they have to put inside of the serum to heal you is a piece of the venom. Wow. Right? So this is no different. This is empowering people to be the agent of change and healing for themselves. And so I think like I'm confident that that's a piece of why we are successful. The other part is, Bayron talked about superheroes. So every superhero really has the same track. Supervillains and superheroes have this in common. They went through a traumatic experience. That traumatic experience pushed them to their limit. That limit brought something out of them that was supernatural. And then they had to make a decision on how they would use that supernatural ability to either positively or negatively impact their community. We have the blessing and benefit of having folks who at one point were traumatized, were impacted by that trauma. That trauma brought something out of them, and now this is the space where they get to use it to positively impact their community. And so how we see ourselves, like, this is not benevolent work. We not feeling good, like, look how many sisters and brothers we gave jobs. No, we understand that the reason we're successful is because of an ICJ. Yep. What he's been able to do and what he talked about, what Bayron has been able to do and what he talked about, is not because of something so extravagant and glorious about Urban Alchemy, but Urban Alchemy is everything that it is because of the work that sisters and brothers like them do. And so even me, like all that resume stuff really is nothing in comparison. Like, it's a blessing for me. Right? So like if in traditional companies, they were like, I'm just blessed to work here because of my background. No, I'm blessed to work here because of my background, because I know the math on why this is important.
As they were going, as you were saying what you were saying about being the uniqueness of why Urban Alchemy is needed, and how Bayron talked about, I could tell you about my collegiate background, I could tell you these things, but that's not important. What is important is that you are equipped with what you need to touch the people who we all serve and we're talking about. And being a servant is so important. It's worthy work. And so as we have discussed some of the things that you all have, you're planning here in the Austin area, just want to ask, so the Arch has this horrendous kind of background. You see people standing out, you see the substance abuse usage, you see it, and this is wide open for people to see. We do have a caller. I'm gonna just hold just a second. I'm gonna stop my thought process so we can give a caller opportunity. Caller, you are on the Iron Sharpens Iron show. We're waiting on him to come in. Caller, you are on the Iron Sharpens Iron show.
How you doing?
Can't hear him. So, as this place that you all are going into has a reputation, already built-in reputation, does that give you any sense of fear coming into a new area in a place? ICJ, I really like you. I just really like. Does this give? Oh, we have a caller. Okay, caller, thank you for calling. You're on the Iron Sharpens Iron show.
How you doing?
We can't hear him. There we go.
Hello?
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 How you doing?
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. I'm on my lunch break, and I'm listening to the show, and your guest,
Wow.
Mr. Kirk Watson.
Kirkpatrick.
Kirkpatrick.
Yes, this is Mr. Tyler, Mr. Wilson, and ICJ.
Yes. And so y'all are talking on the subject that because I had called the Salvation Army and left a message for the counselor, to get back with me because I am homeless, and I was told to call them and she can help place me, and that was been over a week ago.
Wow.
So I'm just, I'm like, wow, it's been a week, and she haven't called me and left a message, reaching back to me, and so I'm listening to your show, and I'm like, okay, well, there's an opportunity for me to get in contact with your guest.
Wonderful.
To see if I can get to get placed, because I'm homeless myself. I've been homeless for a while, but I have a job.
Okay. Okay, wonderful. I'm going to answer on their behalf just real quickly. So if you will call after this show is over with, I'm going to give you our phone number, 512-473-2525, and I will get you in touch with these guys. And actually, I don't know if they have a phone number. They should have bought phone numbers. They're all from out of town, and so I don't even know if they know their numbers and all this kind of stuff yet. Do you all know your phone number?
No.
Okay, I didn't get the last four. I got 473. I didn't get the last four.
So you can call Melge, 512-473-2525. And anybody who's listening, contact our office and we will give you the information for Urban Alchemy. We have people on staff right now who are waiting for your phone call. If you call them right now, 512-473-2525. Yes, give them your name and phone number and how to contact, and we will pass that on to them today. And so hang in there. Thank you so much for your phone call. Thank you for listening. We appreciate
Thank you, Ms. Cook.
All right. Take care.
All right.
512-836-2887 if you want to join into the call. We kind of left off, ICJ would come in and talk about the fact of coming to a place that has a reputation, has not totally been, I don't want to knock anybody's organization, but I have to be honest and say there are many people that are in this space that have been draining grants and this, that, and the third, and we still have a huge gap of services being provided, and people who purport to do this work who are in the space heavily oiled financially and unable to actually deliver services. And I want you to speak to what we were just talking about. How do you all make an impact and a difference in a place that has a reputation of not being everything that they need to be to this particular population? But before you answer that, ICJ, we do have a caller. Caller, you are on the Iron Sharpens Iron show.
Hello, everyone. My name is Pamela from Walking by Faith Prison Ministry, and I just had first of all, I want to tell you thank y'all for the work that y'all are doing, especially for helping be a part of dropping the recidivism rate. But I wanted to ask the question, like, for Texas, for creating jobs for Texas, how are y'all going to come up with a system for Texas? And I'm saying that for people that have been formerly incarcerated, do y'all have any kind of tool to go inside the prisons, or how do y'all have something in place to go to parole offices? Because if you're in Austin, Texas, we know homeless, and we got to get them to where they supposed to be. But the formerly incarcerated people that don't know about urban alchemy, that need jobs, how are y'all going to reach Texas? Because y'all are a stable foundation. Y'all putting that work in, and y'all doing a great job. But how are y'all going to do that in Texas?
Oh, we appreciate you. So I'm just going to repeat your question. You are just basically asking, how are we going to make sure that we connect with sisters and brothers that are incarcerated to create a pathway to get opportunities and careers with Urban Alchemy here in Austin? We have a really great pipeline, the way that we've been able to do it in California, both in San Francisco and Los Angeles. Some of it is relationship based. We connect with the stakeholders and partners and the systems that operate in those pathways, and we have a lot of just word of mouth for sisters and brothers that have come out, like ICJ was saying earlier. But I actually want to ask ICJ to kind of talk about how we penetrate that culture as a method.
Well, definitely it's relationship based first and foremost. I gotta hit that. Now, I got to give a shout out right now to our operations manager of Austin, Kevin Lee. Yeah. Because he's been out here boots on the ground, and Kevin Lee, similar to our model, and
Thank you for your call, Pam.
Similar to our model in the Bay Area and Los Angeles, we're recruiting, we're reaching out. Whether it's transitional houses, whether it's the parole and probation department, whether it's for other brother and sister organizations that we know have a link into the market of returning citizens, lived experience, drug programs, building relationships, getting the information out there who we are and what we're trying to do, and also just talking to folks, letting them know what we looking for. Man, we out there. I got to Austin, Texas Monday. I've met a couple parolees already, and we're recruiting them hard. And so we put our boots to the ground and get the word out there, who we want and why we want it, and then we share our stories. Okay. And so that's how we do it, and also through religious-based organizations as well. I got to give a shout out to churches, different religious-based organizations, definitely making those connections.
Faith, that's right.
Walking by faith. Yes, thank you, Pamela. I want to give a shout out to you because you were someone who's been really, really important in our transition. So I just want to say thank you, Pamela. Without a doubt, it's the network, right? You are boots on the ground, without a question, without a doubt. So of course, working with you and organizations that's very similar to yours, and of course, looking at your network and taking your recommendations. So we're here in Austin, and we're here because of great organizations like you. I didn't mention your name earlier. Your organization earlier, but I appreciate you, and of course, Walking by Faith for sure. Shout out.
I think that it's important to just add right there. A lot of people believe when organizations come in or whatnot, you don't, you get the opportunity, you get the contract, this, that, and the third, and it's always this whole thing about, why you. And my always thing is other people, why not? It says, why not me? We have to remember that, I guess, everything is relational or oriented in a lot of ways. We have to think about that. You all will have to get saturated to entities that are looking to. We have another caller. We have to think about the fact that you have to make those relationships, but then you also have to do what has been successful for you in the places where you operate. And so nobody necessarily gives up what they do to do it, but the bottom line is that the relationships are important. Are those relationships just going to be memos of understanding? Are they going to be partner relationships that you all are going to actually contract with? I think that's something that people are going to want to know. Am I going to get it? Am I going to get paid if I work with you all? Those type of things. We do have a caller. Caller, thank you so much for your phone call. You're on the Iron Sharpens Iron show.
Hey, how's it going? This is Chase Wright, Executive Director at Spring Park Neighbors. I just want to give a shout out to Bayron Wilson, man, and KP and those guys. They came out here to Springdale Park Neighbors today, boots on the ground. And like I say, man, I really enjoy those brothers' work. They're really motivating. They actually had me come out to San Francisco to view their operations. And when I say motivational, I mean motivational.
Yeah.
And what they're doing right now, I'm so excited and glad that they're coming down here, and they'll be down here in October. And we're trying to partner with them as well.
Chase, are you an individual or are you with an organization? Oh, okay. Springdale Park Neighborhoods. Shout out to Springdale Park's neighborhood. I got to get you on here, Chase. So thank you so much.
I'm the executive director here.
Okay. Thank you so much for your phone call. We appreciate that. The guys they have an aura of just, they brought in the energy. So, and their energy matches. It's just like, yay, we might be getting ready to get something done here. Right. And I was like,
Absolutely. That's when y'all ask the question, like, about, the arch having such a negative reputation and these guys coming to take over. I feel like, God's plan is the best plan because these individuals are about culture. And I feel like the culture that's downtown, we haven't had the correct resources or the people to deliver the resources to address this group of people. So to have brothers like myself in positions that they're in, we're ready to tackle that, man. We're ready to tackle that as visionaries, as men of God. We're ready to hit that hard.
Well, very good, Chase. Thank you. I'm sure these brothers want to just give you a shout out as they have.
Oh, yeah, we appreciate you.
512-836-2887. Thank you again for your phone call.
Could I?
Thank you.
Take a shot at the question, and I think you wanted to have ICJ talk about this that component of fear because of the history, but I want to talk about this relationship building piece, right? For us, relationship building is not transactional, right? It's transformational. It's not just about like a call, and we all are from urban neighborhoods, so we understand what it means to check in, right? Like you don't show up in a neighborhood, you don't show up in a city without knowing and checking in with the folks who do the work already, right? So that's a piece of it. The other thing is that for black organizations, you can never afford to come in and be the shining star, because there's always going to be organizations. Again, we talked about We Can Now. We talk about Springdale Park Community Organization. Those folks have been here. We had the opportunity to travel with both of those brothers, with Anthony and with Chase, and to see their authentic love and work with the people. We've had the opportunity to talk to the brothers over at the Urban League and to hear about the work that they're doing. Our intention and what we've already put into action is looking at how do we connect our resources with the people that are here doing the work. We got to do contracts because this is government work, right? It's business, so you got to do that. We'll do memorandums of understanding where it is necessary. Also, there's organizations like TOOF, like Sunrise, folks that have also been doing this work that have been welcoming. There's the tiny home village that we were able to go see. So there's all this opportunity. It doesn't benefit us to isolate ourselves. Mm-hmm. It doesn't, and none of our success has come because we started doing this all on our own. Mm-hmm. All of the work, we are a community organization because we've organized with community, nice. Right? And so we're not trying to clinch on the money tight. We don't need none of the fame. We really want to get down on the ground and be of service to our people, and the only way we can do that is if we do it together.
Because actually, we know that the work speaks for itself. People will get an opportunity to see once you actually are able to get in and start doing and moving around the cabin a little bit. We have another caller. Caller, thank you. You're on the Iron Sharpens Iron show.
Good morning, Latrine.
Good morning.
How are you?
You know what? It's not good morning. It's good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
It's morning on the West Coast.
It's morning on the West Coast, though. That's cool.
I just want to tell those brothers that I'm loving what they do, and I've been trying to get myself situated where I don't have to worry anymore. Like one of the brothers, I did 10 years at TDC, and they were hard years because they were before all this reform and free education and all this other stuff that TDC said they were going to do, but they don't do it. And once a guy gets out, he's stuck. I got out. I've been clean. I've been sober for going on 12 years now. And I still can't find a place to stay.
Wow.
I'm tired of, I've literally stayed in my vehicle for 8 years, in and out.
Wow.
I got an apartment, and they wouldn't renew my lease because this new company took over, and they didn't want any ex-cons. I don't consider myself an ex-con.
Yeah, don't say that word, brother. That's a negative connotation. Convicts, offenders, all those labels are negative, and they're negative connotations. So don't say that. And I don't want to cut you off, but I want to let you know we're running up against time. But I do want to say something about, because I've talked to you and I know what you're experiencing, and I just want to say this. This whole situation about people who previously been incarcerated or with a felonious background not being able to lease a place is a bunch of craziness. And all of these legislative people all over the country who won't allow the state entities that have regulatory power over the real estate industry to remove that box and that label that asks, have you ever been convicted of a felony, which is a way to provide a barrier. Don't you know that they could eliminate that if they wanted to? This has been going, I've been in this work for 19 years. Everybody, if people that don't have a felonious background are having trouble getting housing in this day and age because of pricing, imagine people who do have this label and this barrier. So I definitely want to connect you to them. Make sure that you call our office, 512-473-2525. Again, give your name, phone number, and I will connect you to Kirkpatrick, ICJ, Bayron. Somebody will be able to help you. Or what's the guy's name that's in you all's office right now?
Kevin Lee.
Kevin Lee. We'll do that, and we'll do that today. And we'll be right back to you. Thank you so much for your phone call. You are listening to the Iron Sharpens Iron Show. I'm your host, Latrice Cook, with Urban Alchemy, and we'll be right back to you.
Don't touch that stereo. Don't touch that stereo.
And we are back. So you are tuned into the Iron Sharpens Iron Show with Latrice Cook and these wonderful men who are in here. Not only my engineer, Slice. Thank you, Slice, for just always stepping in and, just being a trooper. Slice has so much experience on these boards and just in radio. And so I really feel fortunate to have him sitting in for our stated engineer. And of course, in the studio is Urban Alchemy and all these wonderful men. Let me just tell you, California is in the house, and they are here in Texas, and they are going to just make such an impact. They already have made an impact. How have they made an impact? First of all, by saying that we can do this, we can try this. How? Because they have said, in our efforts to do this, we're not trying to roll over. We don't want an award. We don't need any personal accolades. We're just here to try to make it better for those people who have experienced the ill of homelessness and incarceration and substance abuse. How? Because they have decided that, we're going to plant our roots here and we are going to make a difference. And we don't have to roll over anybody. We are here to connect with people who are already doing the work, but we want to expand your mind and show you how we do work at places that have had a enormous amount of experience with homelessness, like Skid Row, and places where in Chicago where you see homelessness in a mass. It's a little bit different here in Texas. It's still a big deal, but maybe not what we've experienced in these other places. And so their expertise is going to make a difference. ICJ, when we went to break, we were talking about how people were going to do MOUs and this, that, and the other. What do you have to offer to the listening audience about your process once you get off, once you all are in town, once you get back to your place, what is you all's process now? What are you all looking to do right now in the next, within the next 2-3 months? What is you all's format to get up and going and start with the Arch?
I mean, first and foremost, it's about connecting with the people. And when I say the people, it's the brothers and sisters that are outside the Arch and in the surrounding areas, and it's the brothers that are inside. And we talked about that emotional intelligence and the ability to discern between what's uncomfortable, unsafe, and misunderstood. And so it's taking the time to really meet people where they're at. I've been on the ground before, so if that means sitting on the ground and hearing somebody through crises, hearing somebody that's been rejected for services for whatever reason, and really having that human connection, that ability to be vulnerable, that risk to be vulnerable in order to give back.
Because we also know that one size doesn't fit all, right? It's people always ask you, well, how many people did you see? Well, in people think numbers dictate success, but everybody's experience is different. So sometimes you have to tailor things based on a person's experience and the uniqueness of their situation. And so saying that I'm willing to sit on the ground with that person, on the sidewalk with them, to hear from them is powerful. What do you all, what is it that people need to most know about the places that you currently are? What other areas are you all currently operating in? Bayron keeps saying, pointing to everybody. You could tell he's a founder. He just pointing.
That's your question. That's my question. But I'm gonna let KP take this. But I do want to also add one piece into that. ICJ said it best. It's really about our relationship. We don't talk about meeting a person where they at. We really do mean that. Yeah. If that's required, and that's a part of this discussion. That's a part of our training. We really go deep into that, to the where we got to sit down. That's a part of it. That's about being an alchemist. You sit down, you listen to the story, because your success is different from my success. That person's success is different from someone else's success. We don't gauge success the way most people gauge. We engage success by stories, by knowing people's real names, or that's important to us. How many people you engage today? 500. Give me 500 names then. That's
really give me 700.
Yeah, a lot of me. Go ahead, KP.
They have so much further down there.
Here, what's the grandmama name?
What's the grandmama's name?
So we currently operate in primarily in San Francisco and Los Angeles. In San Francisco and in the Bay, in the Tenderloin and mid-market community, as well as we operate a vehicle triage center in Hunters Point, which is actually where we were birthed from, right, through Hunters Point family. And then we also have 7-Eleven Post. We've got 33 Golf, right? So we have, and in San Francisco, we do a number of different services. So we have what we call interim housing. We have our Street Ambassador, our CEO program, which is really about creating safety and service. And then we also provide services on the BART elevators. In Los Angeles, we also do some really exciting work in Los Angeles. We are kind of spread throughout the city in various council offices. We have our clean teams, which are litter abatement program, trash pickup, our interim housing sites. There we really are pioneering what I think is not pioneering, but we've really made some strides in what are referred to as sanctioned encampments, but what we like to call safe sleep villages, which what we learned are that sometimes sisters and brothers aren't ready to let go of their tent, but they are willing to be in a safe space. And so rather than trying to force somebody into a shelter or into a tiny home, here you'll have a tent, and you'll also be safe from the elements, safe from the people that victimize you, right? And then I think one of the most exciting services that are currently coming out of Los Angeles is what's called our Circle program, which is an alternative to police response. So our practitioners are teamed up with mental health clinicians, and when when a resident calls 911 and it's related to an unhoused resident, what happens is that dispatch call, instead of going to that dispatch call, instead of going to the police, is dispatched to our team, and then our team goes out and does the engagement. If there's a need for de-escalation, they de-escalate. They provide food, clothes, kind of some basic needs, and then each of those teams has what's called a decompression center. So if the sister or brother is really going through something, they can go to that decompression center and kind of relax, and talk to a mental health clinician and get connected to some sustaining services.
Very good. Somebody called in and wanted to know what the number is in order to contact us. You can call us at 512-473-2525. That's the Melge Center, and we will get you in touch with Urban Alchemy. I really like what you said about decompression and actually de-escalation, being the person that they call. I also want to talk about the tiny home village, which I actually have had the opportunity to tour and am familiar with. But you know what I have to say, and people say I'm controversial and this, that, and the third, because I've been out here long enough and I see what I see. But it's not a lot of people, and it's not a lot of black people that are in those places. And it also makes me wonder, who is, when you don't get grants and stuff like this, then you don't have really any accountability because you raised your own money, so you can say who comes in and who doesn't. When you talk about affordable housing, when you talk about places like a tiny home village that is helping those that are homeless, I want to see people who look like me. I want to see more black people in these spaces, in these houses, the opportunity to get there. We've sent many program participants who've applied or tried to get into the houses via their application process and have been looked over. And then there was a white counterpart of mine who was an elected official in the a county that I live in, and they were able to get their person in, and we hadn't been able to get 5 people in. We have a caller. Caller, you are on. I don't know. Do we got a caller? Okay. No? Okay. Very good. 512-473-2525. As we are winding down, I want to tell you, brothers, thank you, first of all, so much for being here with me this afternoon. We will definitely have a repeat, because after you all have some getting more wet on your feet in this particular space, want to bring you all back. One of the things that we haven't talked about is your employment piece. People are probably interested in knowing about that. In like 1 minute, because so just in 1 minute, can you tell me what the employment part of Urban Alchemy is?
In regards to the employees we already have, the 1,250 employees we already have.
No, but 1,250 you need.
Oh, so definitely. We doing outreach. urban-alchemy.us. If you're interested, you get more information on us in general and as well as applications online. Okay. We encourage folks to please apply online. We'll set some connectors out to connect with us. After the first, come by the Arch if you're interested. And again, it's relational, and we're going to be doing some outreach. Kevin Lee is on the ground doing outreach to a lot of folks. Bay.
Yeah, and I gotta also give a shout out to Cece. She did 1 million showers. 1 million showers in 20. Yeah, 1 million showers. Think about that.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's also going to be at the Arch, so you can always connect with her. And anyone who's familiar with Urban Alchemy or our partners, like I said, We Can, Springdale, all of the partners. That's through the Echo. So yeah, connect, and we'll try to collaborate best way we can. In terms of, we're gonna get everybody at least an interview, without a question, without a doubt. Okay. You get an interview. Bring your background too.
Okay, they want you to bring your background. And so you all have been tuned into the Iron Sharpens Iron show, and I am your host, Latrice Cook, and sitting in the studio with Urban Alchemy, Kirkpatrick Tyler, Bayron Wilson, and ICJ, all these young men from California who are here as CEOs and managers and all these other titles that we don't have in Melge, but that's okay. We are glad that they are here. Welcome to Austin. 512-473-2525 is the number. Can you all really quickly, do you have a website that you want to get real quick?
urban-alchemy.us. Just urban-alchemy.us. That's our website.
And as you know, your success is important to us.
Shout out to Dr. Miller.